If today were your last day, would you want to do what you're about to do today? That famous quote was said by one of the most famous men that we will always remember, known as Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs lived his every last day serving men and women all around the world, of all different ages. According to www.biography.com, Steve Jobs co-founded Apple Computers with Steve Wozniak. Under Jobs, Apple came up with many other technological advances, including the MacBook, the iPhone, and the iPod Touch, and all of the other generations of the iPod. In my pocket, I have the iPhone, which is something that Steve Jobs had originally invented. One of the greatest technological advancements is the iPod. I will go over first where the iPod started, second, the different generations of the iPod, and finally, the future of the iPod. The worldwide company, known as Apple, is where the iPod started. According to www.macworld.com, the first iPod was released on October 23, 2001. Steve Jobs and his co-founders at Apple came up with this invention. The purpose of inventing this iPod, or such an invention, was to let people listen to music on the go and listen to music worldwide. After having reasons behind creating this invention, knowing it would catch attention of many people worldwide, they decided to set their plan into action. With every generation of the iPod came greater advancements for what is yet to come. After the idea of the iPod was launched, they started creating the first generation, and from there it skyrocketed into what is now the fifth generation. With a device in your hand that you can control with just the click of a button, came the first generation of the iPod, known as the clicker. According to www.clutchfield.com, by using the same concept but adding new features, came the second generation of the iPod, the Nano. The Nano was bigger in size, but it wasn't bigger than what Steve Jobs had in store for the next generations of the iPod. Next came the iPod Classic. The iPod Classic was biggest in size, which meant it had the most storage room for the most music that you could possibly hold on any other iPod. But the unattractive part about this product was that it was the most expensive iPod that you could possibly get. Next came the iPod Touch. The iPod Touch was the most popular iPod that came out. It allowed people to surf the net, and it allowed people to have apps on their iPod and use it with just a touchscreen. The iPod Touch is classified as the most popular iPod that is yet to come. With every generation of the iPod came greater advancements for what is yet to come. The future of the iPod is so incomprehensible due to the great minds behind this product. The number of generations will continue to expand as years go by. According to iPod.macrumors.com, nothing is set in stone for the next iPod. Without question, the iPod is one of the greatest inventions of all time. From its foundations with Steve Jobs, leading to the masterminds of the other generations. The future of this brilliant product is so bright. This quote that I found was said by Steve Jobs. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. It's with all matters of the heart. You'll know when you find it.